Vanessa is the Coastal Training Program Coordinator at the Jacques Cousteau National Estuary Research Reserve. So we're very fortunate to have something like that in our backyard to provide knowledge, but also as a real reserve that takes care of the beauty of nature. So without anything further, I'm just going to turn things over to Vanessa.
And good morning, everybody. So the idea behind this presentation is really that whether you're here, just for a weekend each summer or all year round, flooding impacts everybody. So today, I hope you'll get a better understanding of why flooding happens and also how you can minimize its impacts. So the focus of the talk today is what you can do about coastal flooding. But before we jump into that, I just want to go over a quick bit about what the government is doing, because they're both important, right? One of the things you are probably aware of is the federal government's beach nourishment projects that are performed by the Army Corps of Engineers. This is a photo of the nourished dune and beach in Harvey Cedars after a nor'easter in 2017. You can see that the water has come up and cut away a large part of the dune. It's damaged this area of the ramp over onto the beach, but it's done its job. If the built renourished beach wasn't here, this easily could have been impacts to the development behind it. And so most of these federal efforts are carried out in partnership with the state and the municipality where it's being performed. Everybody pays some of the cost. And specifically for the state of New Jersey, we dedicate about $25 million a year to the Shore Protection Fund for projects like this. So this is what they're doing to protect the ocean side of the island. On the back side of the island, we have something called the New Jersey Back Bay Study. And it's looking at flood protection, both for the backside of the islands and for the mainland areas. The Army Corps split the coastline into 5 regions that you see on this map here. You'll note that LBI is in what they consider the North region, and they're looking at different approaches that they can use to limit flood and storm damage in these areas. The things they're looking at are a combination of different tactics. One of the things is storm surge barriers within the inlet. This is a photo of a storm surge barrier in New Orleans. Basically, it is a big piece of infrastructure that goes across the inlet. And when a storm surge is coming, they put down this gate and the water physically cannot rush into the bay and cause flooding in the mainland areas. They're also considering flood walls, which is what you see up here. It's basically just a big concrete wall that would be along the back side of the island, kind of just like a bulkhead on steroids, if you will. This is a picture of one they've actually constructed in New Jersey up in the Raritan Bay area for a different project. They're also considering home elevations and some kind of engineering with nature-based solutions, things like living shorelines and stuff like that. In addition to the state sharing in these federal efforts, they're also working on a coastal resilience plan that'll guide the state's policies and regulations and funding for the coastal zone. And this is much needed in New Jersey. If you look at the map over here on the left, these colored areas are showing what's considered coastal area in New Jersey. And so you can see it's more of the state than you might initially think when you think of coastal areas. It's considered everywhere that is tidally influenced. So these are all municipalities where there are rivers and tributaries that have tidal influence and so can suffer from tidal flooding. It's about 1,800 miles of coastline from up here at the border with New York at the Hudson River, and the coastal zone goes all the way down, around, and up to the border of the tidal area of the Delaware River. And about half our population lives in these areas, with obviously many, many more visiting every day, especially during the summer. At the local level, many municipalities are taking their own initiatives to implement or plan protective measures to either keep the water away from development or move it away. So a lot of engineering measures, things like road raising or bulkheads, backflow preventers are basically a little cap on that storm drain out from the roads to the bay that doesn't let the water back up into the streets the way we looked at in that graphic earlier. Another way municipalities are looking at this problem is shifting development away from vulnerable areas by changing land use. And that's things like preserving open space so that the floodwater has somewhere to go. Local governments are also really great sources of information about flooding. This is a screenshot of Long Beach Township's website. You'll see that they have a whole bunch of flood information that I encourage you to check out after this talk. And they actually have a lot of information that I'm going to cover today. Overall community or coastal resilience isn't related to just one single factor or segment of a community. The resilience of the entire community depends on the resilience of government, of residents, of businesses, and of the natural environment. And so that's why when we think about resilience, it's never just one piece, and it is somewhat of a puzzle.